What is going on, everyone? Thank you so very much for listening to this hotline here on Friday, December 13th, 2019, approximately 6:14 p.m. I am recording this on a Thursday, and you know what today is? It's Friday the 13th. Woo! Yeah, giving you a video on the most, well, I'm not going to say the most spookiest day of the year, but the most bad omen day of the year. So hopefully, Garrett Cole, if he did do his physical, passed the physical. That's all I have to say. So, what are we going to be talking about on this hotline today? So, the MLB winter meetings, even though I am recording this on a Thursday night, is almost done. And by the time that we wake up on Friday, the winter meetings will be done. So we'll be talking about Brett Gardner staying with the Yankees for 1 year. Also, Austin Romine leaving the Yankees. He signs with the Detroit Tigers. I might get into a little bit with this Josh Hader news that came out about him possibly going to the Yankees via a trade. I'll share a little bit quick tidbit on that. Major League Baseball and them banning marijuana. I'll talk about that here. And then Cora. Something that I want to talk about here because Cora, we all know about the rumors of him being traded. I'm going to tell you 5 destinations where Cora could be a great fit for. So, of course, subscribe to this YouTube page here because we do have a lot of stuff. I mean, not just these hotlines, but also Wrestling Observer radios. Man, so far my popular subscriptions. I mean, people subscribing is the pro wrestling, and that's something that I want to put into this hotline one of these days. Hopefully next week when a lot of things are not cooped up in the world of sports. So we'll get into that. Also, this weekend you got the UFC, you got NWA Into the Fire. Ring of Honor has a show on Friday, so I might put up some of those reviews up. We'll see what happens. So subscribe to the page if you want to hear those reviews from the Wrestling Observer Radio. All right, so let's start it off. I mean, I can't even say this guy's name. Brian Hooch said that he can confirm that the Yankees and Brett Gardner have agreed to a 1 year, $12.5 million deal. There is an option for next season that is valued at $10 million. Now, there was rumors going around that it was $20 million, but it's $10 million. So there it is. Every other Yankees deal was in a holding pattern until the organization knew where Garrett Cole was signing. It's all they were focused on. It was their number one objective to get Garrett Cole. We all know that. Now that they have Garrett Cole, now the Yankees shift to their attention to other matters. Now, with them signing Brett Gardner for the 2020 season, it's really, to me, a formality. And when you look at it, Aaron Hicks had to have Tommy John surgery. He's going to be sidelined for half of the upcoming season. And I hear some people saying that, oh, Brett Gardner, he got too much money. Yeah, Brett Gardner, they overpaid for Brett Gardner. Okay, first of all, why are we fucking caring about money in the first place? All you people out there, every fucking Yankee fan, including my fucking haters, were all saying, okay, we want Garrett Cole. Yeah, we need Garrett Cole. He's already signed. Okay? I don't want to hear anything about Garrett Cole. We just signed the guy. All right? Let him fucking pitch and let him give us a World Series. Second, who the fuck cares how much money they give Brett Gardner? Because he deserves it. Brett Gardner is coming off of a career year where he hit 251. That's a career high for him. 28 home runs and 74 ribbies. He still plays incredible defense, and he covers center field at Yankee Stadium better than anybody. And some might say that Mike Tauchman has deserved the uptick in playing time over Brett Gardner, and because of the fact that he's cheaper. But you don't know for sure if that's going to continue next season. Gardner, to me, is that safety blanket. Tauchman, he's going to play a big role next season. But you're going to need Brett Gardner there as well. And another huge factor for Brett Gardner is what he brings to that clubhouse. You look at this upcoming season right now. We don't have CC Sabathia in that dugout. Why? Because CC Sabathia is retired. Didi Gregorius. Oh, where is he? Oh, he's in boring-ass Philadelphia. Those were the two huge voices to the players on that team. You cannot replace it in a day. You know, you always hear the expression, Rome wasn't built overnight. Voices to the players can't be replaced overnight. You can't afford to lose 3 of those guys and just hope team chemistry doesn't get fucked by it. Every single one of those players listen to Brett Gardner because he's the veteran voice everyone can go to when they need it the most. He is invaluable in that department. He's also the ultimate baseball hard guy, and I need another year of that with this team. Maybe we'll see him banging the dugout wall like he did last season, which started the Savage movement. Now, let me get quick into this Josh Hader news. I know people want to hear about Josh Hader, blah, 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 him possibly going to the Yankees, and I'm just going to pull this off right now here and share the news tidbit of one of the articles that I am pulling off online right now. So, according to our good friend Ken Rosenthal, the Yankees have been the most active pursuer of Josh Hader. This should be no surprise because the Yankees are always looking to add to their already dominant bullpen. Don't let last year's National League wild card game fool you. Now, when I talk about that, remember, he was the pitcher in the wild card game that blew a lead to the Washington Nationals, which we know why the Nationals went to the World Series. All because of Josh Hader. But in his career, Hader has been nothing short of stellar out of the bullpen. 204.2 innings out of relief with a 2.42 ERA, 44.6% strikeout rate, which is absurd. And he has also thrown over 75 innings each of the last 2 seasons. So, Josh Hader, if somehow we get Josh Hader, now, I hate to be the bearer of bad news over here, but a trade for Hader is very unlikely in my opinion. And it's going to take a lot for the Brewers to part with Josh Hader. The Yankees, you know what? They're going to have to offer them a package that is sexy. They're not actively shopping him, but they're listening to offers that come their way. So, take this report with a grain of salt. because the Yankees are likely doing their due diligence. And what are they doing? They like to check in on every offseason target that's on the trade block. Now, if they do get him, then you know what? Yankees, you have to say it. They're the favorites to win the World Series in 2020. Without a shadow of a doubt. You already got the best freaking pitcher out there in Garrett Cole. You already have Aroldis Chapman. If Aroldis Chapman doesn't blow any fucking games, you got Zach Britton. If you add fucking Josh Hader to that lineup, and I'll say it, Josh Hader is a better upgrade than Betances. So, yeah, they are the most dominant bullpen in 2020. But we'll see what happens with this trade. If it does indeed happen, which I don't think is going to happen for sure. So, Yankees backup catcher Austin Romine signed with the Detroit Tigers today. 1-year deal, $4 million. And for anyone that's not a Yankees fan that listens to my hotline here, I know you guys are not going to give a shit about it. But Austin Romine is one hell of a guy. And I feel like with this signing, it tells me that, he deserves to be a starter somewhere. Now, with this signing, it does bring back some old memories. And you have to go back to 2017 when Romine and Miguel Cabrera had a brawl. And if you remember it, it was just a fantastic brawl. And it's been a few years, so things are probably settled with everyone, now that they're going to be teammates. Let bygones be bygones. But I would still love to see Cabrera and Romine, their first meeting after all of this. Austin Romine, to me, doesn't take shit from anyone. Now, Miguel Cabrera, he's a large guy. And during that brawl, Romine stood right in his face, not backing down for a second as he took his mask off. And Miggy shoved him out of nowhere, tried to throw a few punches. None of them landed, by the way. Romine then took Miggy to the ground in a way that would make me proud. Me being the MMA type of guy. Me being the pro wrestling type of guy. The catcher then landed multiple big punches to Cabrera's gut before things settled down. It was just friggin' awesome. Romine certainly wasn't happy with Cabrera after the game, and I don't remember how long the guy was suspended for. But I'm going to miss the fuck out of Austin Romine, man. I mean, he's been with the Yankees organization since they drafted him in the second round of the 2007 draft. I really don't think there's a better backup catcher out there. Which makes sense that he wants to be a starter for a team before his career ends. You look at Austin Romine right now. The guy's 31 years old. He deserves a starting position in the major leagues. And I hope, the best for him. I really do. I think him getting an opportunity doesn't really bother me at all. Now, what do they do at backup catcher now, the Yanks? Okay, so let's talk about that. Right now, the plan seems to go with Kyle Hishkashova. I can't even say this guy's last name. The guy was the third catcher last year, making it back and forth from the minors to the Yankees. I like Kyle over here because he's a defensive type of catcher behind the dish. He does bring some pop with the bat. I know there's talk about Martin Maldonado, if I said it right, because get back to Garrett Cole. Martin Maldonado was Garrett Cole's personal catcher in Houston. And when you look at the stats, 68.2 innings last season that Cole pitched with his personal catcher. And you look at the ERA, a 1.57 ERA, a ridiculous 10.4 strike for ball ratio. And if Cole really wants this guy to be a personal catcher, I imagine that was already discussed during the negotiations. And the Yankees are going to go out there and get him. Now, on my end, I don't like personal catchers unless there's true bad blood between the other catcher and the pitcher that it's not going to work out. I saw this too with the Yankees with Randy Johnson, if you remember. Randy Johnson had problems with Jorge Posada. And they gave Randy Johnson John Flanagan as his personal catcher. So we'll see what happens with this. But, Austin Romine, man, I wish you nothing but the best. I hope things work out for you in Detroit. So, Major League Baseball made it official today. They removed THC, CBD, and marijuana from the league's banned substance list. Players won't be tested for it, and it's now on the level of alcohol. A few years ago, if you had told me, guys, the sports world, and asked which league, think about for a moment, Major League Baseball, the NBA, NFL, NHL, would remove marijuana from their banned substance list, I don't think one person would have said Major League Baseball. Major League Baseball, they're so behind on everything. I mean, they can't even market their own sport the right way. And it took them as long as they did to put in replay reviews, for Christ's sakes. But here we are. And to me, you have some common sense here. Now, I will say, weed, or I'm going to channel an old phrase from Meet the Parents, one of my favorite movies, by the way, Puffin' the Magic Dragon. Weed has been a common thing in the majors for quite a while. Major League Baseball, just like the NHL, doesn't give a fuck as long as you're not running out to center field, having a fucking joint in your hand. You know players get high after games all the time. What today did was also include the minor leagues in that rule. Minor League Baseball players had previously been subjected to a 25-game suspension if they tested positive for marijuana. Now, for a second positive test, 50 games. 100 games for the third positive test, and then your last shot. If you get caught the fourth time, you're banned from baseball. Now, all levels of baseball are clear. Spark up. Them long bus rides, maybe them plane rides. It's going to be one big hot box right now. And if only the NBA and NFL would have this common sense and legalize weed in their leagues as well, how the NFL doesn't allow it, it's just a legitimate crazy town. You look at the fucking NFL for a moment. Those guys put their bodies on the line. They risk death in every single game. It should almost be required to get high after a game just to relax your friggin' body. Take that edge off. And we saw this happen to Josh Gordon. Josh Gordon got suspended a few times for puffing the Magic Dragon, or as Stephen A. Smith says on First Take, stay off the weed. Makes sense if the NFL allows these players to smoke weed. So this drug policy, by the way, also includes the addition of testing for cocaine and for opiates. Anyone who tests positive will be referred to treatment. Now, the reason behind this is Tyler Sags. When I heard about that passing, man, man, it's so tough because now, you know, this country, we're in an opiate crisis. You know, people are finding these drugs off the streets, somehow getting access to it. I don't know how these players get access to it. And when you look at Tyler Sags, he had fentanyl, he had oxycodone in his system. I believe there was alcohol in his system as well. And those two factors, along with the alcohol, contribute to his death. I gotta say it like this: good job, Major League Baseball. Good job. But also a bad job because you got this stupid 3-batter minimum rule for pitchers. They got approved, and that's gonna change baseball. I hate the rule, but you know, we'll see what happens with it. And finally, there have been some trade rumors, and after the winter meetings are done, you know these trade rumors are still going to continue for players like Francisco Lindor, Chris Bryant, David Price, and now the most recent addition, Carlos Cora, which did surprise the baseball world. Now, Ken Rosenthal of The Athletic said that the Houston Astros have considered dealing their young shortstop. While the report notes a trade is not imminent, the impending payroll crunch means that the Astros, they got some tough decisions to make. Carlos Cora, you know, is a great player. I will admit that. But his trade value is complicated. And at his best, you know, he's an all-star contributor. I mean, he hits for a decent average. He's got some good power, but he's played more than 110 games in only one of his 5 seasons with the Astros. Last season, he only played 75 games. Now, with an expected arbitration salary of $7.4 million, and that's according to the MLB trade rumors, Cora is certainly worth the risk. He's a sell-low asset for Houston right now, but another season of team control would help the Astros in any trade conversations. While every MLB team should be interested in a player of Cora's caliber, I'm going to give you a couple of clubs that make sense for Carlos Cora to be with, even if it's not in the upcoming season, even if they make a trade in the future. But we'll talk about it here, and we'll have a decent, good old opinion about Carlos Cora. Now, first team, the Cincinnati Reds. If I were the Cincinnati Reds, I would put on the table Jesse Winker, Tony Santillan, Jonathan India, and Michael Sandy. And your trade offer that Houston would put on is Carlos Cora and Josh Reddick. Now, Cincinnati, they were in play for Didi Gregorius. But they have Suarez, and Gino Suarez, who clubbed 49 homers in 2019. Man in the hot corner, and they recently signed Mike Moustakas to play second base. Now, Carlos Correa is going to be expensive, but he is a worthy addition if the organization is committed to being aggressive. Now, considering the high-level prospects that I talked about, the Reds, they could push back because Josh Reddick makes $13 million. And that is according to roster resources. But still, he's going to be a good depth alongside Aquino and Nick Senzel. Now, the Astros, they should want a major league outfielder along with a top pitcher and infielder. I mean, hey, the Astros, they're looking to find their future ace after losing Garrett Cole. Winker, I have to say, is the cheap option to replace Reddick. Santillan is the closest arm that the Cincinnati Reds have to the majors. India and Cincinnati, they're plus defenders. But India is a superior hitter. Trade conversations should fall apart if Houston desires a second pitcher, though. The Cincinnati Reds, they're thin on second and third tier arms. The Los Angeles Angels. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't see this happening. Why would you want to fucking trade with a division rival? No. And plus, when you look at it, I hate when you trade with division rivals. Now, if this were to happen, Houston puts Cora on the table. Los Angeles puts Tommy La Stella, Jose Suarez, Brandon Marsh, and Jose Soriano. You know this is not going to be an easy trade to complete. And the Angels, they're short on elite pitching talent to send back. Hey, another team that lost to Garrett Cole. They wanted to get Garrett Cole, but they couldn't. But this team, they want to make a big deal. So they better be ready to pay. Now, La Stella is an all-star. He was in the all-star game this past season before he had a leg injury that ended his season. He would be a great replacement for Cora in the lineup. I can see him playing third base. Alex Bergman would shift to shortstop. He would be the full-time shortstop over there in Houston. Suarez had a forgettable season, but his body of work and injury problems in the Angels rotation pushed him to the major leagues quickly. Marsh and Soriano are the top 4 prospects out there right now. So there's a lot to give up. But Houston, they can demand more because it would see Carlos Cora nearly 20 times this season. And think about it. The Angels just signed Anthony Rendon. Imagine a lineup with Rendon, Mike Trout, Ohtani as the DH. Not to mention Albert Pujols, who I can see batting seventh in that lineup. You put Carlos Cora in there, number 5 in that lineup. Dude, the Angels got a murderous row team. The Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim, they are back. And they will be that team that could dethrone Houston. And I think Houston, to me, in this upcoming season, is going to take a little bit of a step back after losing Garrett Cole. All you Metropolitan fans out there, the New York Mets. Meet the Mets. Meet the Mets. Step right up and greet the Mets. I hate that fucking song. I really do. So, Houston would offer Cora, but they're going to want a lot. Andres Gimenez, outfielder Brandon Nimmo, Matthew Allen, and David Peterson. Houston already traded with the Mets after they shipped their outfielder Jake Marisnick for a pair of prospects, not prospectors. Long day. Sorry to say it. But that was just the appetizer. We could have a blockbuster here. The Mets, they might want to keep Rosario, but with the executives over there in that ball club, if you look at what the executives have done in the past, they have consistently showed that they're unafraid of a big move. And when you look at the executive for the New York Mets, they traded for Robinson Cano and Marcus Stroman. Should Rosario not be an option? Gimenez, he's a great defender. He's got great speed. He played in Double-A last season. Nimmo, to me, is a wild card. He was very unimpressive last season, but he did slug .483 2 seasons ago. He could be a decent hitter while providing a defensive option at every outfield spot. Allen, he won't be ready for the majors for a few seasons. Peterson, 24 years old, could be an option as soon as this year. The Atlanta Braves. So Houston wants to put Cora out there. What do the Atlanta Braves do? They got some options here. They're going to have to re-sign Josh Donaldson. Of course, they're going to be in the discussions for Chris Bryant. But maybe they should consider a run at Cora. Now, the Astros, if I were them, I would prefer Austin Riley. But Dansby Swanson, he's a cheaper replacement. I mean, he has improved dramatically as a defender, and he was having a strong year at the plate before he had a heel injury. And Swanson is a good player. But this trade, the bread and butter for this trade is going to be pitching. Atlanta's going to want to keep Ian Anderson. So any other prospect should be on the board for Houston. Kyle Wright and Tuki Toussaint. They haven't performed well in previous MLB stints, but they're no older than 24, and they got plenty of upside. Thomas Burrows is in AAA, and he looks like he's a solid left-hand relief option. So, orchestrating a trade that allows the Braves to keep Anderson and outfielders Christian Pash and Drew Waters, I think to me that's a generous move. But what's really sexy about this is the depth of pitching that Houston's gonna have. And lastly, the Tampa Bay Rays. Do I think they could resign Cora after the 2021 season? Who knows? But I think they're in the good position to acquire him. And similar to the Mets, you look at what they're going to want to do here, Tampa. They're going to want to move forward an inexpensive Willie Amez. He strikes out a lot, but he's still proven in the field. He posted a 4.2 WAR last season. Joey Wendell would be this contributor off the bench. Matthew Liberatore, first round pick in 2018. I think that's got more of a sexy appeal. And he will be in AA next season, but he has excelled at the lower levels of the minors so far. And then Joe Ryan finished the campaign, struck out 103 batters, walked 27, 123.2 innings. He's not going to provide immediate help, but I can see him having a good future in the majors. So I'm out of here, guys. Till then, I am out, and I will be back Sunday talking NFL. Another rant maybe on the Pats. Who knows? We'll see. Dallas Cowboys, definitely there's going to be a rant on the Cowboys if they lose. So I'm out of here. Peace out, knuckleheads.